Hello, here's the tutorial on how I made this little girl's wrap dress. This is the measurement I used for a 12 to 18 month old. Old. So first, the length of our bodies according to the measurement is 7.5. I added 1 inch, half-inch allowance to join the bodice to the down part and half-inch to join the shoulders on the top. So I measured my shoulder. I just rule out my line for the shoulder. So now I will measure it out. My shoulder measurement is 8.25. So I'll divide that into 2. And this is what it gives me. So I'll mark that. Then go down. I added allowance for joining the shoulder, half-inch, that I'll use to join it together. Then I go down by half-inch. So now according to my measurement that I showed you earlier, my neck width is 2 inches and my neck depth is 2. And so I'll join the lines together. The neck is curved, so I'll curve it out, and I'll join the shoulder slope. If you have a ruler, just use your ruler. So I'll come down for my shoulder, I use 4.75 for my armhole. Then for the chest, the measurement is 21.5. So that divided by 4, that will give us 5 and quarter, 5.25. Then I measured that and I added 1.25 allowance. I'm just curious. I'm just confused. I don't know whether to use 1 inch but you can use any one you like. You can use 1 inch allowance. You can use 1.5. You can use 1.25. So right now I'll join my shoulder since I've measured out my chest measurements and the allowance. So I got the half point of my shoulder and mark it. Then I'll go in by half-inch. Then now I can now trace my shoulder measurement, my armhole measurement out. I use the same measurement I use for the chest, for the waist. Then I drew my neck measurement also. I'm adjusting the camera so that you see what I've done well. It's like I zoomed out so much, so maybe you didn't get a good. So right now I'm cutting it out. So this is our first step. First step completed. This is what our regular bodice for this baby should look like. So now we want to cut out the wrap. You can just cut to the very edge or come down by 1 inch like I did here. Come up by 1 inch like I did. You can just do as you please or even more. So right now I will shape this out. So this is it, guys. I'm cutting only one. It's one that I'll use for both sides. So my fabric, right sides facing each other, I pinned my pattern on it and I cut out. So this is it. Is that easy? That's the wrap section. I remove my pins and we'll put this aside. So now it's time to cut the back part of the dress. You see, if I lap it on each other now, right side, I'm trying to make sure everything is on the right side. So that's it. You see it's looking like the dress we wanted already. So that is it. So I folded my measurement. I fold it properly. Then I use it to cut my back part. You can use the regular bodice we cut before cutting out the wrap on to cut it, but this is how I chose to do mine. So I added 1 inch allowance for zipper and I cut this out and I made sure my zip was on higher this thing. So right now I'm snipping the down part of the zip. I'm slitting it open because that fabric was on fold. So right now I will remove a 0.5 from the down part of this back zip so that there won't be any fold on my zipper when I fix zip. So this is it, guys. 2 for the back part. That is what it will look like when you place it on each other. And 2 for the front part. Yes, yes, yes. We're making progress. So now we'll move to the cutting of the lining. I used 2 lining for this project, since I want to make it a reversible dress, like everything, all my seam will not show. So for the down part, the skirt part, I cut my selvage, is what I'll be using to decorate the neck part. And for my down part, I used 2 yards. 2 yards by 13 or thereabouts. Yes, the measurement I wanted was the length of the baby's dress was 19. So 19 minus 7.5. We have 12.5 or thereabouts. So plus a half inch that I'll need to fold it down. So I had 13 in all. Oh yeah, 13. Then 13.5 because I have 1 inch down for the hemming, then half inch on the up part to join it to the bodice part. So I just placed all this lace on the satin fabric that I'll use so that it won't be transparent, and I cut them out. My lining for the down part, I made it a little bit shorter than this one. So the lining I'll be using for the inner, I look for a very, very light lining, and I cut exactly the same thing. So right now I'm measuring to make sure I don't fold more than 1 inch that I left added to the cloth to fold, and I started sewing it very carefully like that. I will do the same thing to the lace too. I joined my shoulders, the satin, you place it on the lace fabric, join the shoulders. I do the same thing on the white lining that I'm using too. Then I gathered my skirts, the satin separately and the lace separately. You see that that 1 inch that I used, you see that is showing now. So the lining will not be the same length with the skirts, and I gathered my selvage that I'll be using for the design too. So now I needed belt because I like my dresses to have belt. So I'll be cutting belt. This belt will be 23 inches by 6 inches. So I'll have 2 of that. I like my dresses to have belts. So after that, I started sewing. I left space for the zipper, and I started sewing this thing together on the neck part. Then I sew my gathered selvage on it. Then I use the lace to turn it, to to turn the neck part like bias. You can use the lace or you can use the bias too. So the belt now, we'll put it in between the 2 laces, not the lining part now. The real distance, then we'll sew this side. You see this, after sewing on this side, this is what I have. You see, that's the side that I want to use for the this, and this other part is a little bit tricky because we want that thing to lay on that side. We put the belt inside too and lay. So this one that is remaining, we'll join it to the lining part. You see, there's a little bit that is remaining up there. We'll use your hand needle to stitch that invisible stitch later. So right now, this other part now, I'll go to my sewing machine and join it together. So after joining it together, this is what I have. So I'll pick the lace part and first join it to the skirts But when we get to this middle that is a wrap, is a little bit tricky. I'll join everything together. When I get to this area that I'm holding, I'll join everything together. Then when I move forward, I will continue with my lace versus lace again. So after joining it together, this is what I have. I hope you see that that place, that white is joined together. So now we'll cut the lining for the inner. This one we're cutting a half circle for this thing, for this lining part. Then I'll make it like 10 inches long because we don't want it to be the same length with our actual dress. We don't want lining to start showing on that. So my waist circumference divided by 3.14, that gave me 7.5. I measured 7.5 all around, and on the down part I measured 10.5 all around for my this thing, and that's how I arrived at my circle. So now I cut they call this netting, diamond netting. I cut like 3 meters, then I gathered it, then I mark 1 inch down from the end part, and I first joined the net. Sorry, my camera, I didn't know I didn't record that. I first joined the net to the lining, then I now joined the lining to lining, and that is how we arrive at this puffiness that is under. So now I cut my sleeves. Don't worry, I will do a video later on sleeves generally, but this is what I did. Then I make a casing for elastic on my sleeve, because my sleeve to have lining, and I gather the top parts. Let me know if you would like to see a video on how I make my top sleeves. I can do that too. So after adding this thing, it's time for zipper. I first joined the lace part where I want the zipper to stop. Then I added my zipper and I added my sleeve. So that place that was opening that we didn't finish, I finished it off with a hand needle. And this is what we have at the end of the day. You can see it's looking so neat. And for my armhole, I used the bias to finish it up. So that's what the inside looks like. So let's turn it out to the right side. You see, this is what it looks like on the right side. So guys, at this point, if you like what I do, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for being there for me, for watching my videos. I really appreciate you guys.